Hello and welcome to ILTV's Evening Update. I'm Aaron Porras here with the latest news from Israel.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to arrive tomorrow in Australia, where he will face opposition from some 60 prominent anti-Israel activists protesting the visit. According to the Australian newspaper The Age, business and religious leaders, lawyers, academics, entertainers, and former politicians have joined forces to oppose Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Australia, saying his policies provoke, intimidate, and oppress the Palestinian people and are pushing the Middle East further from peace. The protesters include anti-Semitic organizations that support the terrorist group Hamas and its dictatorship over Gaza. Protests against Netanyahu's visit are scheduled in Melbourne, Canberra, and Sydney after he arrives there on Wednesday. This will be the first ever visit by an Israeli prime minister to the country. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull and Netanyahu are set to sign agreements on technological innovation and research and development, providing a framework for scientists, engineers, and businesses to cooperate. An upcoming presidential executive order on religious freedom has led some 20 Jewish Democratic members of the House to write a letter to the White House urging Trump not to sign the initiative. The presidential order would allow federally funded, faith-based organizations to discriminate against people they believe act in a manner inconsistent with their religious beliefs and values. The proposed executive order is intended to cater to the wishes of conservative Christian groups that wish to bypass anti-discrimination laws because their religious beliefs, as well as those of some Orthodox Jewish organizations, prohibit same-sex marriage, premarital sex, abortion, and transgender identity. The letter was endorsed by several Jewish groups including the Anti-Defamation League, American Jewish World Service, Bend the Arc, Keshet, Truah, and the National Council of Jewish Women. The Shin Bet security agency has arrested 2 minors for a shooting attack last month and in December in the West Bank, in an operation carried out in coordination with the IDF and police. According to the Shin Bet, 2 17-year-old Palestinians from the West Bank village of Deir Abu Mashal carried out the shooting attacks on December 14th and January 27th against Israeli vehicles not far from the village of Halamish. No one was injured in either of the attacks. The 2 were arrested several hours after the January attack, and the Shin Bet found 2 Carlo Gustav improvised guns, which were found to match the bullets found at the scene of the attacks. It was further discovered that the 2 were involved in other attacks. The Binyamin Regional Council in Judea and Samaria transferred over 11 million shekels to illegal outposts within its jurisdiction between 2008 and 2014, according to a report in Haaretz. Using budgets available to regional councils for investments in infrastructure, public funds were used for developing such infrastructure and construction in several illegal outposts. The NGO Peace Now will shortly publish its findings that show the extent of regional council involvement in financing such illegal outposts. According to Chagit Ofran, who is part of the Peace Now team monitoring settlements in the West Bank, Matem Binyamin is just one example. She said this is only the part that was uncovered, but that there is clearly a whole system whereby illegal outposts are funded by these councils, while the government turns a blind eye, letting it proceed. Israel more than doubled its investments in Mexico last year as 2016 investments reached a record of $2 billion. This makes Israel the 4th largest source of foreign investments in Mexico after the United States, Spain, and Germany. Despite the strong economic ties, Israeli-Mexican relations were thrown into turmoil recently after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted support for US President Donald Trump's plan to build a wall on the United States-Mexican border. Despite the ensuing fallout, the Israeli Prime Minister assured reporters that Israel and Mexico will, quote, continue to have good relations, end quote.
That's all for now. Stay tuned on ILTV.tv for our main daily broadcast playing after this. I'm Aaron Porras and see you next time with our morning briefing from Israel at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.